Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to what is hopefully a decently quick video. Today, the only thing I'm going to be trying to do is to make an actual cheap nuke craft. That is a craft which has one purpose: to hit the enemy directly in the face with a nuke. With the tactical nuke, the lovely little cheap thing here, because in the campaign at the moment, I've been messing around by using our darts as our nuke delivery system, but they're way too expensive, and honestly, they're not all that effective either. Now, this really isn't something I've had too much experience with. The only nuke device I've really used in the past have been the test nukes, and the whole point of those is just to use the turrets, and then use spin blocks for them to go towards the target, not using engines or anything else. But this time I'd like to see if we can make it so we just have the smallest craft possible, which will probably be oversized for me, and make it actually hit the target 90+% of the time. So that's all we're doing today, so hopefully it's quick, and if the video's way too long, it just means I've been absolutely incompetent, which, let's be real, is the more likely outcome here. So what we want is the nuke on the very, very front, and with that, let's get to work. This is Future Lathrix here. So, sadly, I did record the in-game audio a little bit too loud in this video using a single audio channel, so there's not much I can do there, but I do realise I made this mistake around about halfway through the video and then start to turn it down. Not enough and not fast enough, but by the very end you can hear me a little bit better. You should still be able to hear me just fine throughout the video, but the music is a bit overpowering. Won't happen again. Even though this happened before, and I did say that then as well. It's currently 4 AM. My brain is not here. So then, what's the bare minimum this is going to need? Well, it's going to need an engine, and it's going to need an AI, and that is pretty much it. And of course, some basic steering. So, what I'm hoping we can do is just have something like 4 of these jets on the front or on the back, 1 or 2 of the jets for speed, maybe one of the larger jets for a bit more of a boost, and then a tiny engine powering it all. So, get ready to see one of the most awful looking engines of all time, because I'm just going to spend like 5 seconds throwing this together. There we are, then we have the cylinder, then we're just going to have 2 injectors, and 2 exhaust pipes. I will make this all more efficient later on if the concept works. Right now, I really can't be bothered to add things if there's a good chance I'm going to be removing them all. Probably will need some roll thrusters actually, unless we make this perfectly balanced, and even then, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So just throw this here like this. So far it costs... Wait, that already costs 877? What's so expensive there? What's take up... Oh, it's just the actual AI itself, isn't it? Of course, that's 300. Then the engine is relatively cheap. The nuke is incredibly cheap. Yeah, it is just the mainframe. I am surprised, though. Okay, my original goal in my head was to get this to be sub 1000, but looks like that might not happen. So for the AI, we're going to want it to be set to RAM. Something like, yeah, so that's 0, so you actually want to hit directly. Not sure about this. I keep on messing around with this and never really deciding on it. They disable adjuster below then the distance. For now, we'll leave it as is. That may cause problems later on, but we'll get back to it if we get back to it. Everything else makes sense. Below this range, we will consider disengaging from the target. Obviously, we want it to hit the target directly, so that should be 0. Disengage when range increases by 50 meters. If we are close enough to consider disengaging, then if our distance increases by this much, we will disengage. Essentially, that means if we're only slightly off, we will continue to try, but if we completely miss our target, we will try to circle back. So maybe that should be a bit lower. No, I think for now that is at max. If I do get any of this wrong, by the way, I do apologise. This is not my area of expertise. Small craft, firstly, I am terrible with, and then things like this, yeah, not really what I normally go with. Probably just leave all that as default for now. So that, in theory, should work. Ooh, saying that, what type of maneuver are we going to use? I think just regular airplane movement should be okay. Maybe. Then maybe we will need some PIDs for the yaw and such. No, for now, we'll leave it as it is. And we'll just make sure this thing can fly forwards. Yep, trying to turn and everything. It shouldn't really be able to fly properly unless it has a target, but that looked okay. Let's just save this and spawn in an enemy. Yeah, this is going to be way too strong with the thrusters. Yep, that overcompensation means we're never going to hit the target. Although, it also does mean it's going to be incredibly hard for the enemies to hit us, especially if we add any kind of a disruptor. Yeah, that's never going to make it. That looks so silly. It's kind of like an angry fly. A really angry fly. You know when flies just detonate? Okay, nope. Let's do some adjustments. Exactly the same drone, but this time we've simply added 2 PIDs, one for yaw and one for pitch. I don't think we need either of those if we tone things down, but I just want to see what happens if I just add them. PIDs, the magical answer for everything. Well, it tried. And I think I know what I did wrong that time. That's also kind of adorable, gotta be honest. Ooh. Yeah, I do think I know what I'm doing wrong here. Okay, in theory, this one should work. So, the thing which went wrong last time is I'd accidentally left on collision avoidance. Now, what should happen with this one is it should get close to the water without actually sinking in. Wow, really close. Okay, I'll make that a bit safer next time. And it will get nice and close to the enemy, then all of its adjustments will turn off, which means it will suddenly not care about the water, and it won't care about hitting anything, and then it will actually land a hit. But yeah, need to make it so it doesn't quite kiss the water so much. That was really worrying. Any waves and that would have sunk. There you go, as you can see, no one cares about the water, it's going down, and boom. Lovely. It's almost graceful, which is not what I expected. So this time, it stays much higher up in the air, until it gets within about 200 meters of the target, then it simply forgets all of its adjustments, and just goes directly towards the target. Adjustments. Words are weird. Though I might need to make that a bit more extreme, though. The idea is, though, it's not always directly pointing at the target, so if there's like something in the way, like a hill, it won't just ram straight into that. But yeah, should have changed course way sooner. If it had roll controls, it might have actually been able to just descend and then crash into it anyway. As you can tell, I'm still learning. Expect me to do a lot of weird things. Okay, so change of plan. We're going to have the little Nuke boy here sit at 200 meters above the water. So it's nice and high up. It will just skate along like that until it gets within 300 meters of the target, in which it should then just dive bomb. Essentially, it stops listening to all of its adjustments and everything else once it's close to a target and just goes directly for it. This way, let's say if there was a hill here, we wouldn't just hit the hill because we're not going directly towards it. That was the problem I was running into with the test nukes, the old nukes, and even the planes. Now, I think I may have set it a little bit too close, though, because I would like it to be diving now. Oh, yeah, that is way too close. If that had roll controls, so it didn't just spin out like that, that would have probably still hit. In fact, it still technically hit, it just didn't go off because there's no control block to make sure it always detonates. Okay, that is really cool. I think we're onto something here, lads. I think we are. Tried to say lads then, but kind of caught in my throat. Lutz. Thanks, Lutz. So I didn't really say anything then during that test, because I didn't really expect it to work. I'm trying to make it move a bit more like the flying squirrels of old and stuff like that, just to make it a little bit more resilient versus light anti-aircraft weaponry. And it kind of worked. So the problem is, though, because it's so erratic when it gets there, it doesn't always hit the target first go, but it will continue to go round and attempt over and over again, and that seems to be working out just fine now that I've got the roll controls active. Still don't think I'm there yet, but I'm definitely getting closer to what I want each time. And I know there's better ways of making nukes. I know there is, but this just seems like a fun way. Definitely going to make me learn a lot of features of the game very quickly. That's gonna hurt. Oh, right in the undercarriage. Yeah, okay, I think I've got it where I want it now. It's currently costing 1,300 before any armor is added, but it seems to be working now very consistently while still moving incredibly erratically on the way to the target. It's staying at about 200 meters above the ocean, and then at about 500 meters from the target, it then starts to ignore all those settings and just go on this weird spiral towards the enemy. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be so hard to hit for certain weapon types. Hello. There we go. I do love this version though, just look at how stable that was. It looked beautiful, but that's not the bloody point of a nuke. It's not there to look pretty, it's to make a pretty explosion and make everything else look less pretty in comparison. And if it moves that stably, everything that looks at it with a slightly menacing glare will cause it to detonate on the spot out of sheer embarrassment. And that's not good. Didn't know there was a little chair there, that's cute. But still, not good. We need big explosive explosions, tearing giant and gaping maws into the backside of ships. Oh, I really want it to be that stable though, because it looks so pretty. The other problem I'm having is this. Max pitch for altitude control is only 75 with this particular type of movement, but every other movement I've tried, I don't like the results as much. But I feel like I need to use something else. Just not sure what. So now the real question is, how am I even gonna make this look? What should this look like a traditional bomb? I think... Oh, I don't know if it's the Grey Talons or not. I think it's either the Grey Talons or Steel Striders. It may be the Steel Striders, now I've said this. Which have an actual nuke, which looks like a nuke. I could have cheated and simply spawned that in to check out if that works, but I've avoided doing that, and I'm sure it uses something far smarter than how we're sorting out this. But... yeah, we're going to stick with this for now, and I don't know if I do want it to look like a traditional nuke or missile. I guess we could do. I mean, I still need to add more jets to the back and such, so... because this should be way faster than what it was. Either way, they're going to use some light alloy because it's nice and cheap. We do need to add some detection to this thing, which will be quite simple because you don't need the best detection ever, just the basics. And what we could do, to be cheeky, now I know for a fact that the Grey Talon one uses this. Again, is the Grey Talon? The nuke in the game uses this. It is the, if I can find it, is it in defenses or... there it is, the Scrambler. Interferes with enemy sensors, reducing their accuracy, uses engine and processing power to do so. So if we added this, it simply means the enemy would have a much harder time aiming at us, especially if we're going with the less stable option. Imagine a flying squirrel, which also makes it so you can't quite see properly. That's kind of what we're going with there, and I think the nuke uses this, or at least it used to. The problem is that requires more stuff, and what I want this to be is kind of a fire and forget missile, just something we can make loads of during combat. We have no special need for it. It doesn't really have to be all that specific, but it does need to be cheap. Originally my goal was 1,000, now my goal is 1,500, and this would cost 100 by itself, then it would cost processing power. Which means we're going to need even more general purpose processing cards. Currently, I'm going to need, I think, like 2, maybe 1, just for the basic detection we're going to add to this thing. We'd need more, and maybe a better engine. I don't think I'm going to use it here, though maybe I'll make a larger version in the future, which does use this. I think if I do make another light aircraft, I am going to mess around with these, but for now, I am going to simply ignore this. We could add it if we wanted to, or we could just add this to whatever is firing these. That does work, right? It's an... okay, I don't actually know how this works. Does it just affect all AI? All enemy detection systems? Or is it only if it's targeting the vehicle with this on? I actually don't know that. If it's all AI being affected within a certain range, or whatever you're targeting, then whatever's making these, I may just put one on there. So it now costs just shy of 2,000. And is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Yes, I've gone with the stable option because I am a weirdo and it just makes me happy. If you're here for sanity or logical reasoning, I think you need to go to another channel. Ooh, time shell. Wait, we survived that? Okay, well I've just actually turned down the pitching, so I want to test something. If I didn't make it in time, will I be able to roll up? Yes, I will, and now I should actually hit the target. There we go. Lovely. So even if I do miss the target, we can then go up or down very quickly, just going in circles until we hit the target. I'm really happy with how this turned out, actually. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Oh, that definitely took something out. Oh, internal blades. Yeah, that could be it. I can't help it, I just keep on testing it versus everything. So far, it has hit everything. So, with that, I'm afraid I am all out of time for today's video. I will be updating this a little bit off camera. I am kind of going over my recording schedule at the moment, just because this was a little extra thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to throw an hour or two at it, and it's been way more than that. So, overall, the volume is, I think, a full 200 less than the Dart. The Dart is 270, this is in the 70 mark, and in terms of cost, this is just shy of 2,000, whereas the Dart is just over 4,000. So, half the cost, far less than half the volume, and it does pretty much the exact same thing. The only real con is that it's a bit less armoured, and it is a little bit slower, so two cons there. But it does the job perfectly fine, and I'm probably going to make a prettier version in the future. Today was testing, and testing was done decently. I still think, though, one of the best ways to use the nuke is still just use a turret which aims at the enemy. This can allow the craft to have incredibly tight turns and just go directly towards the target, and a way you could have that work is have the AI set up so it doesn't aim at an enemy until it's within a certain range of that enemy. Then the turret activates, and then everything else you can have the same, so all the maneuver stuff is the same, but then the changing, instead of having RAM, you just have it as a normal AI and target using the turret. I will probably do a version of that as well, just because I do think that is more effective. I just wanted to see if I could do it without using a turret, and well, we've got this thing. This tiny, stubby little weird thing. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, probably still building, we need to build the satellite, and honestly, I just want to build another ship. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. This was weird.